The stage is set though for next week. We're getting the coffin match, which was delayed an extra week, but
This
we
is
had a sit down with Jr. Good old Jr. with Ethan Page and Darby Allin, and it finally the first ever coffin match, which Ethan Page has been promising to be the nail in Darby Allin's coffin. This was a nice. I like to sit down with Jr. I think he should do more. I know Bonds agreed with this. Do more of specialty commentating, pay-per-views, sit-down interviews, and things like that. And honest, even Excalibur and Tony, just the 1-2 punch could work so well together on commentary and make JR, still a good part of AEW, but just more special, for the big calls. But anyways, the content of this, just talking about the history, and that's what I loved, those, AEW fans like myself and who don't know much about Ethan Page before coming to AEW. I liked how they brought up the history and, how one came to AEW before the other and all that. And so it's really set the table, laid the silverware down, and the food's in the oven for us next week in the coffin match, man. It was a great segment.
I love this one. I've been really digging this Darby Allin versus Ethan Page feud.
Yep.
My favorite feud in AEW. We talked about that on Friday Night Fights and Flights.
Yep.
This is my favorite feud in the company right now. I think that both sides are absolutely killing it. Tonight's segment, the sit down interview was, as you said, it was a great use of JR's his history. Sort of, seeing it all and just his presence, his demeanor. It was really, it kept this segment together.
Yeah.
And then you really got to see these two opposing sides that, I think both sides of this promo brought it tonight. I mean, Darby went right away at Ethan Page about, how he was bitter from the get. This is a guy who's been doing it for a decade plus and was just at the same stage of his career as this young kid. And I think that, that is a different side of Darby. To me, I've always been the guy. I'm the guy who's forced to defend Darby a lot on this show, and I felt like this was
you're the conductor.
This was an example of why there's plenty of coal in the oven of the Darby Express. This baby is chugging along just fine.
Choo-choo.
Things I loved about Darby tonight was just he gets a lot of criticism for being a rag doll, for getting tossed around and kind of being bullied. In this segment, he showed no back down. He showed a hell of a backbone. He was the aggressor. He went right after Ethan Page in this promo and laid it all out there. That basically this is the story of a guy who is insecure, who has all the look and all this stuff, but inside realizes this is a guy who looks himself in the mirror and realizes that he maybe let some things go. He didn't chase his passions like he should have, and Darby was not apologetic for being successful.
Right.
I enjoyed that side of Darby having a little bit of edge and going after Ethan Page rather than him always being the one who's being the one who's receiving it, right? Obviously, that said, all ego is quickly, and I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times, this guy is quickly establishing himself as must-see content every time he's on.
For sure.
He's quickly becoming one of the best promos in all of professional wrestling. I know he kind of carried Team Canada in Impact on the promo game. For those of us who watched him and his work before AEW, but he's elevated himself to another level. He really has. His whole presentation, his confidence, everything about him is clicking right now. He feels very big league, and he's a part of the reason why AEW is starting to really feel like not this upstart company anymore. It's starting to I feel like AEW is really becoming more and more polished, more and more of a legitimate powerhouse in and of itself. This talent, this roster is incredibly deep. We talk about it at length, man.
So stacked.
There are so many talents on this roster that don't have stories right now or aren't featured regularly right now, and not because they're not capable of it. But because this roster has gotten so deep and has so much talent, Ethan Page really is an example to me of a reason why AEW is starting to feel like a true powerhouse in the professional wrestling industry. You have a guy who really does feel, to me, like can't miss.
That says a lot.
Ethan Page feels so can't miss to me. He just is a total package. The guy, he walks the walk, he talks the talk, he's got it, right? And I think that's why you've had such a hard time coming around to seeing the Darby side of this feud, because it's so like you're captivated by what Ethan Page has been able to do. He's funny, but he also has a sadistic, like badass side of him. He'll throw you down a flight of stairs. He'll cheap shot you if he has to.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about All Ego. So I get why people are buzzing about this dude. And again, on a night where, AEW has a ton of great promos, this is a promo segment that really stood out.
It was. I agree, man, and I'm very excited for next week as well.